So these are the questions for the dog walker. Could you please explain what happened on July 6, 2016 regarding the truck incident?
Sure. I was walking my dog towards the bridge. He's a pretty excitable dog, and he managed to get away from me just as the light turned green. He ran out in front of the moving truck and ran circles in front of it, trying to look at it as much as possible, and I guess trying to decide where to run next. I could see the driver of the truck watching my dog, which I was very thankful for. And I stood at the edge of the road calling for my dog. He came back over to me, so I got a hold of him and took him back to the sidewalk. We started walking towards the bridge again, and I saw the moving truck wedge itself under the bridge. That's all I know.
Okay. And then, if you could you please describe the events leading up to the accident?
I take my dog for a walk every day in the same area around that, and his leash broke that day, so I had no control over him running him into the street.
Did the leash break right before the accident happened, or did it happen prior?
Before the accident.
Right before the accident, so you just kind of busted loose?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If possible, could you please draw where you were before the accident?
In relation.
Yeah, in relation to like where the truck was and where the lights were. And...
Her face. Do you remember?
You said before the accident?
Yeah, like in relation to like where the truck was and like where your dog got loose and... Okay, thank you. And then, do you mind just kind of explaining what this is?
So that's the light.
Okay,
That's where the truck was moving towards, yeah.
okay.
And then that was like the bridge. And that was me and the dog.
This is the bridge,
The adjacent road.
the adjacent road. And then where is the bridge in relation to this picture?
Like behind the light right here.
Behind the light, okay. And then what are these little dots? Is that you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and then is this showing the truck driving or is this showing the truck parked? Stopped at the light?
It's moving.
This is moving?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good. Whenever you're good.
So you said your dog ran out in front of the truck,
Correct.
and the truck was moving, and then it stopped for your dog?
Yes.
Do you believe that your dog would have been hit by the truck if she would not have stopped, if it wouldn't have stopped?
Yeah, I do.
When you got the dog, how did you once you retrieved your dog back, how did you keep him in his spot if the leash broke?
I took him by the collar.
Okay. Did any of the drivers in traffic do anything to make you think that they had been drinking?
No, I didn't notice any issues in the traffic.
Okay. That's no further questions for you.
So these are the questions for the other driver, the other employee driver. So are you required to keep a log of company vehicles that you drive on a given day?
Yeah, there's an assignment sheet that says which driver goes to which truck.
Okay. Do you happen to know the height of the truck that you are driving on any given day?
There's usually a note beside it, but sometimes it can be kind of surprised because somebody might call in sick, so somebody else gets shifted to another truck. So every once in a while, there's some discrepancies.
Okay. Were you driving the same day that the accident happened?
Yes, but I was on a different assignment.
A different assignment. And now the truck that you were driving on that day, have you ever driven that truck before?
Yeah, I've been with the company for a while, so I've cycled through at least most of the vehicles.
Okay. How long have you been with the company?
Almost 10 years.
10 years, okay. Have you ever been in an accident before?
Not with any company trucks, not with any private vehicles either.
Okay. Have you ever had to take the route that Linda Crane had to take on that day the accident happened?
Yes, I have.
You have taken that, and it did not result in an accident?
No, but I was driving a different vehicle.
Okay. And, so your record's clean for driving. Do you know anyone else besides Linda that has, had evidence of alcohol in their truck before?
Every once in a while, cans will show up, cigarettes will show up. I mean, they're company vehicles, so it's kind of gross in there sometimes.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
What has been your experience with the cleanliness of the cabins in the truck?
It can be kind of questionable sometimes. I mean, they're not, certainly not spotless. I mean, you can go in there, there's leftover trash, candy wrappers, bottles, beer cans, sometimes even cigarettes. I had one case in which I was assigned a truck and it just reeked of cigarette smoke. It would not come out of anything.
Okay. Do you know the route where the incident took place?
Yes.
Have you had problems with this route before?
It is a pretty frequent problem for employees with this route.
Do you know of other drivers who have had complaints about the route?
Yes, there's been quite a few others.
Why do you and the other employees keep going on this route if it is a known problem?
We're assigned a route by the employer through GPS, and if we vary from the same GPS route, they'll question us. Every once in a while, someone will be disciplined for straying from that. So employees will try to stay as close on that route as possible.
Why don't you and the other drivers take a different route when you see that you're given this route?
Like I said for the previous question, it's a GPS course, and if you stray from that, the employer is going to question you.
So you work with the employee that got in the accident. Have you ever seen her drink before?
I've seen her outside of work. She'll have maybe a glass of wine, but she's not one for drinking.
Okay. That's all the questions I have.
Okay, so this is for the union steward. This is the first time we have ever had an incident of a beer can and alcohol in our company trucks. We take pride in making sure that our vehicles are clean. So can you please explain how your client came to have a beer can in their cabin the same day she blew a positive BAC?
It could have been a number of employees. We've had issues in the past, and every once in a while they're, stash stuff onto the back seat where nobody can see it, or whoever has the truck next will clean it out. So there actually are quite a few problems with cleanliness sometimes.
Good.
Have you ever had any problems with the employee in question?
No, she's been here for 15 years, and she's given us nothing but outstanding service. We've never had a problem.
Has she been known to drink?
I don't know her socially, so I've never seen her drink, and I know for sure that she does not drink at work.
That's all the questions. So you said you were adjacent to the road the truck was on, but not on the same road?
Correct.
So the driver wouldn't have seen the same sign you saw since you were on different roads?
Correct.
So what kind of vehicle were you driving that day?
I was driving a white Lexus.
Do you have more visibility in your vehicle than you would in an industrial truck?
I am not sure. I've never driven an industrial truck before.
So if you were adjacent to the road the truck was on, it wouldn't have been possible for you to see the light up sign, correct?
Correct, but I could see the 11-foot 8-inch sign.
Did you speak with the police when they arrived at the accident?
Yes.
What did you say to the police officer?
It seemed strange that this accident happened because all the signs and warnings were posted.
So you noticed the driver was distracted, Is it possible the driver was distracted by the loose dog?
It's possible, but I could not be sure.
That's all the questions.
Should we stop it for now?
Yep. To unlock.
Okay, so I'm asking questions to the police officer, next witness. Could you please explain the scene of the accident to the court?
When I arrived on the scene, the top of the vehicle was smashed where it had collided with the overpass. Based on the damage, I suspect the individual did not attempt to brake before crashing.
And what was the reasoning, or what reasoning did you have to ask the driver to blow into a breathalyzer?
While performing the field sobriety test, I was careful to watch the individual's eyes to look for any pupil dilation. There was no indication of such, but they did fail one of the field sobriety tests that I asked them to perform. It is standard for the officer to ask individuals to take a breathalyzer after failing a field test.
What was their BAC?
The individual did blow a positive BAC level.
And did you do any sobriety tests?
As I stated before, yes, I did do some field sobriety tests after arriving to the scene. I had a hunch that the driver may be driving under the influence, so I had the individual get out and perform these tests.
Did the driver smell of alcohol?
There was a hint of alcohol in the individual, which prompted me to have the individual complete the sobriety tests.
What can you say that again?
There was a hint of alcohol on the individual, which prompted me to have the individual complete the sobriety test.
Yeah. And where was the beer can found?
The beer can was found in the cabin of the vehicle.
Okay. And what was the state of the beer can?
The beer can was found lying open and empty in the back seat of the cabin.
And you said that driver smelled of alcohol. Was it just their clothes or was it their breath too?
It was on their breath.
And let's see. If someone were to have a glass of wine at 10 p.m. the previous night, would the alcohol still be in the person's system at 10 p.m. the following day? I mean at 1 p.m. the following day? Excuse me.
If you drink a large glass of wine, it takes your body 3 hours to break it down. Either the person drank more than they stated or they drank the glass of wine later than stated.
Okay, thank you very much.
Is it going?
Mhm.
Oh, okay. What tasks were involved in the field sobriety test that you administered to the individual?
I had the individual perform a speech test.
And what entailed the speech test? Like what activities, or what did you ask her to say?
There are many variables to it.
What is the one that what did you specifically ask Ms. Crane to do? And how did she feel it?
I asked her to repeat phrases, and she incorrectly repeated them.
How many phrases does she need? How many phrases did you ask her, and how many of those equals a field sobriety test?
I'm not allowed to release that information.
Could she have failed the sobriety test because she was shaken up from the accident?
I do not believe so. Throughout my profession, I have seen individuals driving under the influence, and she exhibited the same behaviors.
Have you ever been to an accident that did not have alcohol involved?
I have.
Has any of those individuals that you talked to who were involved in the accident had shooken up speech?
No.
So every accident that you've been involved with, the people you talk to are just calm and collective.
I never said that.
Okay. Moving on. You said the can was found in the cabin. Where in the cabin?
It was found lying in the back seat.
Is it possible that the force from the accident moved the can from a spot where it could have been?
I wasn't in the vehicle, so I didn't find.
But is it possible, from your expert opinion, is it possible that a can that was in a hidden spot in the car, unseen to the naked eye, from the force of an accident, could have been brought forward?
It is possible.
You also said that, if I'm remembering correctly, that if Miss Crane had a large glass of wine, it had to be larger than what she said in order for her to still test positive.
Yes, but I don't know because she had a BAC, positive BAC level. So I don't know her personally. But she definitely either
But
drank
you-
more than she stated or drank it later than stated.
Can you define what a large glass of wine is?
250 milliliters.
Is it possible, actually, never mind. Are you aware that the residual amount of alcohol causes false positives in breathalyzers?
I am aware.
Is it possible then that the positive breathalyzer could have been a result of Miss Crane using a breath spray 20 minutes prior to the breathalyzer test you administered?
When there is a positive, I retest to ensure it's not a false positive.
Is it possible though that that breath spray affected both of those tests?
It is not possible.
It is not possible.
Breaths.
Okay. When could it have affected both tests? You're saying no? The
No.
breath spray could not, it's not possible that it,
It is not possible, but she did test positive.
I know, I got that. Who did you talk to first at the scene of the crime?
The driver.
What driver? The eyewitness driver
The
or
driver,
Miss Crane?
Miss Crane.
Miss Crane. So just for clarification, she failed the sobriety test, so you then administered the breathalyzer.
Correct.
Are you aware as a police officer what the legal limit is, or the legal limit level is of a breathalyzer test?
Yes.
Could you please share with us what that level is?
0.08.
And what was Mrs. Crane's?
I'm not allowed to release that information.
Yeah, we don't have that.
But you are saying that it was under the legal level.
She did blow a positive BAC. That's all I'm allowed to say.
But she was not arrested for driving under the influence. Is that correct?
She is. She was not taken into custody now.
Is it your practice to arrest anyone who is driving above the legal limit?
Yes.
Have you ever administered a breathalyzer test to someone who smelled of alcohol, but they tested under the legal limit?
Could you repeat that?
Have you ever administered a breathalyzer to someone who smelled of alcohol, but was not intoxicated?
I clearly smelled it on her breath, which is why I administered it.
This question is not pertaining to Ms. Crane. It's in any other situation in your career of law enforcement. Has there been a time where you breathalyzed someone who smelled of alcohol, but they tested under the legal limit?
If I smell it on their breath, then I administer it. But if it's just on their, they perform the field sobriety test.
Can you say that again?
It is protocol that if I smell any alcohol, they perform the field sobriety test. But in most cases, if you smell alcohol in the breath, you also administer the breathalyzer test.
Have you ever smelled alcohol in someone's breath and gave them a breathalyzer and they did not fail it?
Yes.
Oh, but she did.
So it is possible, or no, what did you conclude as the reasoning for that individual's breath smelling of alcohol if they were not under the influence?
They weren't under the influence.
So is it possible that that is the same situation for Ms. Crane?
No.
It is not. So it's possible for that individual, for that circumstance, that Mrs. Crane could not have,
She blew a positive BAC.
but she was not arrested for driving under the influence.
Not at the moment, not at that time.
I think that is all our questions for you.
All right, these are the questions for the HR rep. Could you please explain which company rules have been violated?
Yeah, in this instance, the employee violated rule number 8, number 12, and number 14.
Could you please specify what those rules are?
Yes. Rule number 8 states employees shall not use employer's equipment or name for personal use or promotion. And rule number 12 states employees shall not use alcohol 10 hours before the start of their shift or during their shift. And rule number 14 states the employee shall use all of the employer's equipment in an appropriate fashion.
What types of disciplinary actions are typically taken when somebody violates these rules?
According to our discipline clause, union members shall not be disciplined without due process and reasonable cause. The term discipline in this agreement includes oral warnings, suspension, and discharges. But due to the violation of a number of company rules and the severity of this case, including the positive BAC, we believe that we have reasonable cause to discharge this employee.
In the past week, have there been any complaints about the employee showing any abnormal behavior?
No, they seem pretty normal. This is
Okay, thank you.